You've worked hard for your money. You've sacrificed weekends, skipped vacations, negotiated raises, and turned down impulses just so you could build something real. And then, in a single moment, a click, a signature, a phone call that seemed perfectly reasonable, someone takes it all. The cruelest part isn't the money itself. It's the realization that someone played you like an instrument, using your own hopes and fears as the strings. Financial scams have evolved past the cartoon villain in the shabby office, making cold calls. Today's scams are psychological operations. They're built on the foundation of how humans actually think and feel when money is involved. When fear enters the equation, fear of missing out, fear of a life unraveling, fear of the unknown, rationality doesn't stand a chance. This is why the biggest financial scams work so well. They don't exploit stupidity. They exploit the very qualities that make you successful: your ambition, your trust in systems, your belief that prosperity is just around the corner if you only know the secret. The people running these operations have studied human psychology more carefully than most therapists. They know exactly which emotional buttons to push, exactly how to present themselves with credibility, and exactly how to make an illegal transaction feel like a normal financial move. Over the next 7 minutes, you're going to learn about 5 of the biggest financial scams circulating right now, scams that collectively steal billions from ordinary people every single year. But more importantly, you're going to learn the exact psychological architecture behind each one. Because understanding how a trap works is the first step toward never stepping into it. By the end of this, you won't just know what these scams are. You'll understand them at a deeper level. You'll see the patterns, recognize the subtle manipulations, and most crucially, you'll know exactly what to do when a scammer tries to hook you. The first scam is one that's taken more money from ordinary people than almost any other scheme in history: the advance fee fraud. Also known as the Nigerian prince scam in its older incarnation, but now it's evolved into dozens of sophisticated variations that don't even require you to be in Nigeria to get you to part with your money. Here's how it typically works. You get an email, a text, or a LinkedIn message from someone claiming to represent a large corporation, a government agency, or sometimes just a wealthy individual. The message carries urgency and opportunity. They've noticed you specifically. They have a deal that could change your life, a job that pays $50,000 a month, an inheritance from a distant relative you've never met, a real estate opportunity that's completely legitimate but requires capital up front, or a business partnership that could make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. The specificity is what makes it work. It's not generic. They know your name. They reference the right industry. They sound credible because they've studied how credible people sound. Then comes the catch. There's an obstacle in the way. A tax must be paid before the transfer can happen. Paperwork requires a fee. A background check is needed. Some small initial investment is required to unlock the larger pot waiting on the other side. The amount they ask for is designed to be high enough to get them real money, but low enough that you might convince yourself it's worth the risk if there's even a 20% chance it's genuine. What if I miss out? Becomes the dominant thought. And here's the psychological genius of it. They make the offer just plausible enough that you can't completely dismiss it as fake. There are real jobs with legitimate companies offering remote work. There are real inheritances that require processing fees. There are real investment opportunities that require capital. So your brain gets caught in the middle, trying to weigh the impossible question: is this the real deal? Or am I being fooled? The moment you send that first payment, you've already lost the core battle. Because now they have proof that you can be moved. Proof that they found the right emotional buttons. So they'll contact you again with another problem. The funds are almost cleared, but there's one more fee. And then another. And another. Some victims have paid tens of thousands of dollars before finally accepting that they've been scammed. The most painful part? In many cases, there never was any money. The inheritance, the job, the investment, none of it existed. It was all psychological construction designed to lead you exactly where they wanted you to go. To avoid this, you need to understand that any offer requiring upfront payment before receiving something valuable is almost always a scam. Real companies, real employers, and real investment opportunities don't work this way. If someone is offering you money, they pay you first. Full stop. If someone contacts you out of the blue with an incredible opportunity, Assume it's not credible until proven otherwise. And if they're creating artificial urgency, if they're saying this offer closes at midnight, or I can only hold this for 48 hours, that's your signal that emotion is being used as a weapon against rational thought. Don't think when under time pressure. Slow everything down. The opportunity that's real will still be real tomorrow. The second scam operates differently, but with equally devastating results. The romance scam, which has become a multi-billion-dollar industry preying on loneliness and the human need for connection. This one doesn't start with greed. It starts with hope. You're on a dating app or a social media platform. An attractive person notices you. They seem exactly like what you've been looking for. Their values align with yours. They're interested in your life. They ask thoughtful questions, and for the first time in a long time, someone seems genuinely invested in you. The interaction is effortless. They move quickly. Within days, they're calling you sweetheart, talking about a future together, and making you feel seen in a way that normal dating doesn't provide. This is by design. Scammers often have profiles of dozens of people simultaneously, sending slightly personalized messages that feel authentic, but are variations of scripts that have been optimized through thousands of tests. They know what to say and how to say it because they're targeting the specific psychological vulnerability of loneliness. The scammer will gradually introduce complications into the relationship. They have a business opportunity, but need capital to make it work. A family emergency requires money for a plane ticket or a hospital bill. They're stuck overseas and need help with a visa. Each request is small enough to seem plausible, but large enough to extract real money. They're not asking for thousands at first. They're asking for hundreds. And because you care about this person, because they've spent weeks or months making you feel loved and understood, you convince yourself to help. Real love requires sacrifice. They might say, if you truly care about me, you'll help me through this. By the time you realize the person doesn't exist, that the photos were stolen from a real person's Instagram, that the backstory was fiction, you've often lost thousands of dollars and something even more valuable, your trust in your own judgment. The devastation isn't just financial. It's emotional and psychological. You feel foolish. You wonder if you were too naive, too lonely, too desperate. The scammer has engineered a situation where the victim often won't even report the crime because shame is a powerful silencer. To protect yourself from romance scams, understand that if someone you've never met in person is professing love and requesting money, it's a scam, period. Real relationships are built in person. Real love doesn't require financial investment before meeting someone face-to-face. If someone is always too busy to video chat, if they can never meet you in person despite being in the same city, if they're constantly asking for money for emergencies that somehow never resolve, these are not signs of a legitimate relationship. These are signs that the person pursuing you is a fiction. Before you send anyone money you haven't met, talk to a trusted friend and describe the situation. Loneliness is real, and the need for connection is human. But predators exploit both of those things with surgical precision. If you're feeling isolated, find legitimate ways to build connection: therapy, community groups, genuine social activities. A scammer's version of love will always be a lie dressed up as something real. The third scam is particularly insidious because it exploits a vulnerability that even intelligent, financially literate people possess: the phishing scam, which uses fake emails, websites, and text messages designed to trick you into giving up passwords, financial information, or personal data that can be weaponized against you. A phishing scam typically starts with a message that appears to come from your bank, your email provider, your investment platform, or another trusted institution. The message says something like, "Unusual activity detected on your account. Your password expires today. We need you to verify your identity," or "click here to confirm your information." The design of the email is often nearly perfect. It looks exactly like communications you've actually received from these institutions. The logo is correct. The branding is correct. The email address might even seem correct at first glance, though often it's something close to legitimate but slightly off, like PayPal1security@verify.com instead of security@paypal.com. The links don't go where they claim to go. They lead to a fake website that's an almost perfect replica of the real thing. You enter your credentials and they've got them. Or you enter your credit card information, and now they have everything they need to drain your account or sell your information on the dark web. The genius of phishing is that it exploits the fact that you've been trained to check your email regularly, to keep your account secure, and to respond quickly to alerts about suspicious activity. The scammers have taken your good habits and weaponized them against you. Your instinct to act fast when you receive a security alert from your bank is exactly the instinct they're counting on. They're betting you won't pause. They're betting you won't verify through an independent channel whether the alert is real. They're betting you'll click first and think second. In recent years, phishing has evolved into spear phishing, where the scammer researches you specifically, knows your name, the names of people you follow on LinkedIn, the companies you've worked for, and uses that information to create a highly personalized message that feels legitimate because it contains details only a real insider would know. To avoid phishing scams, you need to accept one fundamental principle. No legitimate financial institution will ever ask you for sensitive information via email or text. Never. If you receive an alert about your account, don't click the link in the email. Instead, open your browser, type the official website address directly into the URL bar, and log in from there. If there really is unusual activity, you'll see it when you log in independently. Always hover over links before clicking to see where they actually lead. Inspect email addresses carefully. If something feels off about a message, if the urgency seems exaggerated, if the language is slightly awkward, if you're being pressured to act immediately, trust that instinct. And most importantly, never share your password with anyone, ever. Not with your bank, not with your email provider, not with customer service. Real institutions will never ask for this information. The fourth scam is one that destroys retirement dreams and derails financial futures. The Ponzi scheme and its close relative, the investment fraud, where promised returns are so attractive that they override skepticism, and the whole operation is revealed as a house of cards only when new money stops flowing in. A Ponzi scheme works like this. You're offered an investment opportunity that promises unusually high returns. Maybe it's a hedge fund. Maybe it's a real estate development. Maybe it's a cryptocurrency opportunity, a forex trading system, or some exclusive investment vehicle that only a select few have access to. The promised return might be 12 to 20% annually, something significantly higher than normal stock market returns, but not so outlandish as to be immediately dismissible. The person running the scheme is often charismatic, well-dressed, successful-looking. They might be recommended by someone you trust. They might have an impressive track record and testimonials from people who seem to be getting rich. What you don't know is that the money paid to earlier investors isn't coming from the promised investment. It's coming from money deposited by newer investors. When you invest $10,000, $9,000 of it goes into a bank account. $2,000 is paid out to earlier investors as their returns. The paperwork makes it look like your money is working hard in the stated investment, but it's not. It's being used to pay interest to earlier investors and to line the operator's pockets. The whole system works only as long as new money keeps coming in. As long as there are more people putting in money than asking for their returns, everything looks healthy. But inevitably, the pool of potential new investors runs out. People start asking for their money back. The returns can't be paid. The scheme collapses. And everyone who got in after the initial wave discovers that their money has evaporated. The victims of the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme, which operated for decades, lost roughly $65 billion. Some victims lost their entire retirement. Some took their own lives over the financial devastation. The remarkable thing about investment frauds is that even intelligent, sophisticated investors have fallen for them. It happens because human beings are pattern-matching creatures who look for reasons to believe what we want to believe. If the promised return is high enough and the operator is skilled enough at seeming credible, we convince ourselves that this could be the exceptional investment, the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. To protect yourself from investment fraud, understand that if something sounds too good to be true, it always is. Legitimate investments have predictable, documented returns. They're regulated. You can verify their credentials independently. If an investment advisor won't let you check their regulatory history, won't provide clear documentation of how your money is being invested, or pressures you to invest quickly, these are red flags. Diversify your investments. Don't put all your money into one vehicle, no matter how credible it seems. And understand that extraordinary returns require extraordinary risk. If someone is promising low-risk, high-return investments, they're either lying to you or they're operating an illegal scheme. The fifth scam is one that's rapidly becoming more prevalent as the world becomes increasingly digital: the identity theft and credit card fraud scheme, which does require you to voluntarily give up your information. It just requires that someone access it through a data breach or through social engineering. Here's how it typically unfolds. A company you do business with, a retailer, a healthcare provider, a financial institution, an online service, gets hacked. Your personal information, which you dutifully provided to them, is now in the hands of criminals. Or a criminal calls your bank claiming to be from Apple support or from the IRS and convinces an overworked customer service representative to verify your identity and then transfer funds or provide access to your account. Or you throw away documents without shredding them and someone goes through your trash. Or a criminal simply purchases your information on the dark web from someone else who previously stole it. Suddenly, accounts are opened in your name. Credit cards are being used. Loans are taken out. Your credit score plummets. Collection agencies are calling you about debts you never incurred. Your identity has been stolen. The most damaging aspect is that identity theft isn't just about immediate financial loss. It's about the years of effort required to fix it. You'll spend countless hours on the phone with creditors, filing police reports, disputing fraudulent charges, and slowly rebuilding your credit. The psychological toll is significant. You feel violated, exposed, and it's hard to shake the anxiety that comes with knowing that someone has access to your personal information and can use it however they please. To protect yourself from identity theft, start with the fundamentals. Use a credit monitoring service or check your credit report regularly through the free sites available to you. Set up fraud alerts with the credit bureaus. Use strong, unique passwords for every account and use a password manager to keep them secure. Enable two-factor authentication on your important accounts. When you receive unsolicited calls claiming to be from financial institutions, hang up and call the institution directly using the number on the back of your card or on their official website. Shred sensitive documents rather than throwing them away. Be cautious about what personal information you share online, even on social media. Don't assume that a phone call from someone claiming to represent your bank is actually from your bank. Scammers have become expert at spoofing caller IDs. And if you discover that your identity has been stolen, act immediately. Notify your bank, place a fraud alert, and consider placing a credit freeze that prevents new accounts from being opened in your name without additional verification. The patterns connecting all of these scams are worth understanding because recognizing the patterns is your best defense against becoming a victim. Every single scam exploits one or more fundamental human vulnerabilities: the desire for more money, more opportunity, more status, the need for connection and the fear of being alone, the tendency to trust institutions and authority figures, the vulnerability that comes with not having enough information to make an informed decision, and the emotional hijacking that happens when fear, urgency, or hope overrides rational thought. Scammers are students of human psychology in a way that most people aren't. They know that when someone is afraid, they don't think clearly. They know that when someone is desperate, they'll take risks they normally wouldn't consider. They know that when someone is lonely, they're more susceptible to manipulation. They exploit these realities with precision. But here's what should give you hope. Understanding these patterns is a superpower. Once you see how the manipulation works, it becomes much harder to fall for it. Your defense isn't about being more intelligent than the scammers. Some of them are incredibly intelligent. Your defense is about building a pause habit, the ability to slow down when you're feeling pressure, when you're being offered something too good to be true, when someone is creating artificial urgency. Your defense is about verification, never acting on information without confirming it through an independent channel. Your defense is about doubt, cultivating a healthy skepticism about offers that seem too perfect and about people who come into your life asking for money before they've earned your trust. The people running these scams are counting on you to be reactive, to move fast, to let emotion override judgment. Do the opposite.
Slow down. Think.
Verify. Ask someone you trust for their perspective. Remember that the opportunity that's real will still be real tomorrow, and the person who's legitimate won't be offended if you take time to confirm their credibility. Your money represents the value of your time, your effort, and your sacrifice. Don't let someone steal it through psychological manipulation. Be vigilant. Stay aware. And when something feels off, trust that feeling.